Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this world, in this beautiful world, beautiful, crazy world of ours. Welcome. Thank you for you taking your time to be here with me. I'm your host, Daniel, and this is the Splendida podcast. Today's episode, it's something that I think I've talked about a bit in the episode 27. I know because I've just looked at it. So it's episode 27 where I talked about that I don't have it here. Shadow work. Okay. And this episode is somewhat connected to that episode. So today we're gonna be talking about accepting the darkness. Okay. Now you might be thinking like, hang on a second, I don't want to accept any darkness. I don't want any darkness in my life. I'm fine. If anything, like I want light. I want, good things. I can understand if you say it like that. I can understand where you're coming from. I really do. And I think most people will agree with you, saying like, hey, I don't need any more darkness in my life. I do not need to accept it. No. I'm all about light. I'm all about love and all that. So no, thank you very much. The thing is, accepting the darkness is a crucial part of understanding ourselves. It's a crucial part of understanding why do we do what we do? Why do we think the way we do? Why do we live the way we do? Okay. Now, let's be brutally honest. Okay. The majority of us is not a monk. Okay. So, and I'm saying this because monks, we see monks as, these very calm people. They're all about love, all about helping others, all about empathy, all about just evolving in a spiritual way. So we see them like very special people. Okay. And the majority of us is not there. The majority of us, we're concerned with maintaining the job so we can pay our bills, so we can pay mortgages, so we can pay whatever every month, right? So we can maintain our level of lifestyle. The majority of us is concerned about, what we're going to eat tomorrow, or where we're going to eat over the weekend, where we're going to go on holidays next month. We're not thinking about spiritual stuff, but I think it's important that we do that. And the darkness is part of us. We can't get rid of it. We cannot. It's like you can't just have daylight. You need a night, don't you? You can't stay always awake. You need to sleep, right? You can't just anyway, there's a whole bunch of things that we can't live without. Okay. For example, we might only want sunshine every single day. Hot. But If that happens, then you're pretty much living in a desert. And you need water, you need rain, you need cold days, you need foggy days so you can get that moisture, that water in. Otherwise, you can't survive, right? So we need once and for all to accept that we have darkness in us. Okay? Given the right conditions, a lot of people can do some bad things. Okay? But also under the right conditions, a lot of people can do very good things. Okay? So it's like the yin and yang. Okay? The hot and cold, the day and the night. You need all of that. That's what makes you whole, right? We don't exist with only half a body. We can't function properly with only half a body. Can you imagine only having like just half, whether it's the right bit or the left bit? You can't function with it without that bit missing, not properly, right? So the darkness is not all about negative things. It's not, how shall I put this? If you just agree and accept that you do have a darkness, even if you say that, well, I've never killed anyone, I've never stole anything, I've never, told like huge lies that put people in danger or in very awkward situations, whatever. It's not that. The darkness, it can be, for example, we snap constantly at people. We're nasty to other people. We're unpleasant to other people. Do you know what I mean? Like, for no apparent reason. Okay? Or you say bad things about yourself. That's being negative. So when you realize that happens, you can deal with it. You don't just have to ignore it and put it to the side. You don't need to, it's something ugly, but I'll put it in the cupboard so I don't have to look at it. But it's still there. Even if you put in the garage, even if you put in the loft, it's still there. You know it's still there. So the darkness will always be with us. Okay? But rather than you putting it away, it can be with you. It can be displayed. And so like, hey, it's a part of me, so it lives with me. Right? So you can just go and say, yeah, it's a negative thing. I acknowledge it's there. That's it. You move on. So every time you feel like more negative, more jumpy for whatever reason, just think that it might be that darkness in you. It's trying to poke you in a way. It's trying to get your attention. And you can go like, yeah, okay, you got my attention, but I'm not going to give you my attention for that long. Just like, I know you're there, but no, thank you. And that's it. And it might go away. Do you know what I mean? You can't just ignore it and just like, oh no, I'm just going to focus on the light stuff, on the good things. That's good. Yes, we should always focus a lot more on the good things, right? But we need to understand that there's cycles, and that, just because something is really good, it might not last forever. So some darkness might come in, but even that will not last forever. So it's a circle, right? The darkness feeding on the light on the darkness, the yin and yang. And you need to do your best to enjoy both. Okay. Sometimes some people actually really do enjoy the darkness, sometimes too much. And that is not good, obviously. But so is enjoying the light too much without acknowledging the darkness, ignoring the darkness. Because then when something happens and the darkness really, really hits you like a hammer, you might not be as prepared, and you might not know how to deal with it. And that's where some people might have a real hard time dealing with these darkness, simple as that. Don't ignore it, okay? Acknowledge it, but do not allow it to take much of your time either. Okay, whatever that is. Obviously, everyone has got different things going on in their life. But we can look at certain situations outside of our own, looking for some sort of inspiration of how to deal with our own darkness. And that is encouraging. And you can do that, and you should do that. Not just live in your mind the whole time, but that is good up to a certain point. But you need to interact with other people. You need to find some motivation, external motivation, external creativity even, and use that in your own life. Okay. So yeah, it's not all about bad things. It's how you deal with them. It's like if you got a flat tire, right? You can be mad about it, you can be frustrated, you can be angry about it. Are you going to be mad, frustrated, and angry about it for days and days? You need to be somewhere, so you need to deal with it. Either you do it yourself, if you know how to do it, change the tire, get it done. Yes, you're losing time, but at least you're dealing with it. You're working on it, and it's like, it's okay. I'm taking my time. I'm doing the best I can. Okay, and then at the end of the day or whatever, then I'll figure it out and see if I've done this properly, or if I need to do something else. Okay, or you can just call someone else to deal it for you. Okay, to change that flat tire, and then you go on your way. But at least you're dealing with it. You're not in that rage anymore. It's like, okay, it's been dealt with, whether I'm doing it or someone else is doing it for me, it doesn't matter. Everything's going to be fine because, it's been fixed. Okay, so when the darkness comes in, and it can come in anytime. You might be watching TV, a program, a movie, a documentary, a series, whatever that is, and something triggers you. It has happened to me many times, many times. Something triggered me, and I go, oh, that's deep. And either it could be like something that I relate to personally. It could be like something that that is happening in my life, or it could be something more generic that I see as like, okay, this is for everyone. It's like, okay, it's deep. This makes sense, but it hits you nonetheless. It hits you because like it's a part of you, or your real you, that recognizes that and goes, that's true. And and that's why you feel it. Do you know what I mean? Because like we're not robots. Okay? We feel. So whether we feel from words, from sounds, from vibrations, we do feel. And oftentimes like we get emotional about it. Okay? So these can come whenever. You might be listening to music while driving to work, or while you're going shopping, whatever, and something hits you, not physically, but like emotionally, something hits you, and you go, whoa, where did this come from? Okay? And you need to know how, you need to analyze it. You need to understand how to deal with it. What can you do to deal with it in the best way possible? Especially if it's something darker. Okay? And darker here can be anything. It can be anything. It can be like something someone close to you said about you that you didn't like, something that happened to you years ago that you didn't like. It could be something that someone else said to someone that you do know or you don't know, that somehow triggered you, or whatever, that got a response from you somehow. And we need to know how to deal with these things the best we can. But as long as we do not ignore that. Darkness is needed in our growth, so we can learn how to grow, so we can learn how to go through these stages in our life. Do you know what I mean? So it's not something to be ignored. It's something to be understood in the best way possible. It is something to just accept as part of ourselves. We can't escape it, okay? So there's no point in escaping it. There's no point of doing whatever so we do not have any darkness in our lives. It's always going to be there. Whether we want it or not, it's always going to be there. We just need to learn how to deal with that when it comes, when it arises. Okay? Hopefully I made myself understood. I know this can be somewhat of a tricky subject to talk about. Initially for me it was, but now I understand it a lot more. So I don't get so caught up into it, but I recognize the frustration in other people's emotions or in other people's words, because I've been through that, and sometimes I go through that. Okay, sometimes like just because you dealt with something negative, it might not necessarily be over, right? Especially if that is part of your path on this earth, or if you haven't fully figured it out yet. So that's why it keeps coming back. It could be, or it could be something else entirely. Okay. But I think it's important that we acknowledge that and see it as nothing embarrassing to talk about. There is nothing. I can understand it might be uncomfortable, sure, but we don't have to make it so uncomfortable as to be completely shy to talk about it, and even ignore it. You know, to ignore it, that's even worse. When you ignore it, when you know it's there, but like, yeah, I don't want to deal with it. It's just like it will accumulate in the back. Do you know what I mean? So it's like having, just negative thoughts. We all have like negative thoughts every day, but it's what you do when you have those negative thoughts. Do you keep feeling them, or do you acknowledge them and then you think of something more positive to the point where that negative thought will disappear somehow? That's the thing. So I'm going to stop here today. Thank you very much for taking your precious time to be here with me. And hopefully I will see you in the next episode, right? You take care of yourself. Bye-bye.